Help us answer that question on our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. Please go like it first. And of course, you can head over to our Twitter handle, which is at Morning at NTV. Feel free to tag me at MBGold2, at Kasiate, at Joel Senyoni, at Dakaba Chigongo, and of course, at Mebkeb, who is already at the NTV studios. A very good morning to you, Mabel. Are you feeling as energetic as me? It's a new month, and everyone is excited, but very scary because it's only literally 3 months to the end of the year, and if you haven't achieved or started on your New Year's resolution, you're in trouble already.
Yes, indeed, Bran, good morning. For those of us who make resolutions, you know, you get to this point and you're like, why did I even bother making resolutions? Because the year is, you know, 3/4 gone almost, and your resolutions are looking very, very bleak. Well, thank you for joining us here. Well, don't worry whether you've met your resolutions or not. We are here to guide you and put you in the right direction with all we have in store for you here at Morning at NTV. We shall continue by taking a look at the news. The Minister for Works and Transport, Engineer Abraham Byandala, is on the spot once again over what Parliament says is insubordination and contempt of Parliament. The chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Physical Infrastructure, Ephraim Biraro, faults the minister over not providing documents regarding the procurement and award of the contract to an American company, Utah, for the construction of the Mukono-Katosi-Nyenga Road. The minister could not, however, be reached for a comment. Shilandu Huchire reports.
The construction of the Mukono-Katosi Road project was expected to last 3 years, but controversies over the contract award could see it stall. Now, the committee says the Minister of Works, Abraham Byandala, who is at the heart of the storm, has failed to appear before the committee to answer queries regarding the procurement of works on the 74-kilometer road.
They tell us that in 2010, these people came and met the president. We want the minutes of the meeting. We want evidence. We want evidence, for example, that how did Nassar go to America? Because by mere mention of it by a senior cabinet minister, that means he has evidence.
The chairperson on the Committee of Physical Infrastructure, Ephraim Biraro, says the minister failed to honor parliamentary summons on the 22nd of August.
To date, as I talk, Honorable Byandala has not brought even a single document relating to the Katosi project.
The minister, who is also the Katikamo North Member of Parliament, faces questions over his role in the award of 165 billion shilling contract for the construction of Mukono-Katosi Road to a bogus farm. He is specifically accused of directing Uganda National Roads Authority to sign the contract before due diligence was complete. Now the committee also wants him to appear and explain why the acting executive director, Sebuga Chimeze, who was in acting position, went ahead to sign a contract without approval.
Why did they keep him in acting position for more than 6 months? Was it a predetermined plan? Was it a maneuver?
The fallout from the road saga has in previous weeks spilled over in the media, with Minister of Transport Abraham Byandala accusing 2 cabinet colleagues of working to oust him from office. Shilandu Huchire, NTV Parliament.
Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago says the government should hold a referendum for Kampala to decide on whether the mayor should be appointed or elected. This is amid reports that an amendment to the KCCA Act is being mooted that would do away with elective positions. Solomon Kawesa reports.
The chaos and politics surrounding the Kampala Lord Mayor's position is now taking a new twist. While the issues are in court, last week, a UPDF representative in the August House, Major General Julius Oketa, proposed to the Committee of Presidential and Foreign Affairs to have the position of the Lord Mayor appointed by the President. This would mean a move to amend the KCCA Act, in particular Section 9, which, among other things, suggests that the Lord Mayor shall be elected by universal adult suffrage through a secret ballot at an election organized by the Electoral Commission. However, Lukwago would want a referendum to be organized for Kampala residents to decide on whether the mayor should be elected or appointed by the president.
Now, if he believes that the people of Kampala are tired of elected leaders, take this matter to a referendum. We will tussle it out. I challenge you. Take it to a referendum.
Although he has no intention of petitioning Parliament on the matter, Lukwago says he will fight to the end.
I hope His Worship Deon Nzeimana will cause this matter to be fixed and heard expeditiously.
The Minister for Kampala, Frank Tumwebaze, declined to comment on the matter, but so far, whether or not to hold a referendum remains a divisive issue. Article 255 of Uganda's constitution provides to the right of a referendum on any issue. It says, Parliament may by law make provisions for the right of citizens to demand the holding by the Electoral Commission of a referendum, whether national or in any particular part of Uganda, on any issue. Machinde Division Mayor Ian Clark blames Kampala's problems on a lack of functional leaders pivotal in its administration.
Some of them don't have the technical capability to oversee the kind of people that they're supposed to be overseeing.
He advised politicians to set aside their political differences and focus on service delivery.
So we should be electing the kind of people who are saying, whether I'm FTC or whether I'm NRM, when I come into the chamber, I'm going to leave that behind me and I'm going to get on working with my colleagues to bring better services to the city.
Even other people who are better than Jennifer, if they were given to compete together, they would get better leaders.
People's choice should be considered because this is a person who was brought in power by the people. They should be respected. Uganda
had so far undergone referenda twice. That is, the 1964 Buyagabuganga is a question and the 2006 referendum which lifted ban on the multi-party system of governance. Solomon Kawesa, NTV.
In the past few weeks, troops of the African Union mission in Somalia, backed by the Somali National Army, have made significant progress against Al-Shabaab militants. In the latest victory, the forces captured Kunartau town in Lower Shabelle region. This came just a day after the capture of Bulomarere, which was one of Al-Shabaab's strongholds. Despite these achievements against the Islamic extremists, the capital Mogadishu routinely comes under attack from the militants who target key government installations. Solomon Seranja now looks at the possibility of a totally peaceful Somalia in the near future and the role of Ugandan troops who are playing a key position there.
For 7 years now, the Horn of Africa has been a battlefield between the forces of the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM, and the radical Al-Shabaab militants who are seeking to establish an Islamic state and the rule by the Sharia law in Somalia. With about 22,000 troops, AMISOM forces have been on a sustained offensive against the Al-Shabaab, dislodging them from their key strongholds including Kismayo, Balidaska, Doble, Tiaglo and Baidoa. A week after capturing Bakolo town, the UPDF contingent in Somalia, backed by the Somali National Army, overran Balmera on Sunday during Operation Indian Ocean.
The Al-Shabaab really resisted. They fought very hard for it. You can see the tires that they burnt in the city. You can see how they were firing on us from the rooftops. But I'm so sure they have all fled towards Barawe.
The AMISOM's latest victory is today when they captured Kadnuari in the Lower Shabelle. UPDF contingent commander Brigadier Diko Lum's men are now marching onto another critical Al-Shabaab stronghold, Balowe town. According to AMISOM intelligence, the Al-Shabaab used Balowe as a recruitment and training ground.
Taking Balowe will be one of the significant achievements because of first the strategic location, the geography itself, and also it's an area that can serve as a supply route for Al-Shabaab.
But as the AMISOM troops press on to flush out more Islamic extremists, the Al-Shabaab are fighting back. They occasionally hit key government installations in the capital Mogadishu, including the intelligence base, the president's compound, and the national parliament. Such attacks in the heavily guarded Mogadishu city would seem to dash hopes for a peaceful Somalia soon.
We did not completely clear, the town of Mogadishu. We know there are still some infiltrations inside Mogadishu, and we're working closely with the Somali National Army and police to monitor those movements and to identify who is who.
The attacks also raised questions on whether AMISOM and the Somalian National Army can have effective control over the captured towns so that they do not slip back into the hands of the insurgents.
We're really making the members of the public aware of the urban tactical warfare that is being employed by these extremists, so that they can also give a contribution and give a hand to provide information to the police.
As Somalia rises from the ashes following the breakdown in the rule of law after the 1991 ouster of dictator Said Barre, questions remain on whether the Somali National Army will have effective control over the country when the AMISOM mandate expires in 2016.
The Somali people go to the polls in 2016, but until then, AMISOM is focusing on strengthening key government institutions, including the Somali National Army. Until when AMISOM is sure that this army can protect its citizens, it is not about to pull out of Somalia. Solomon Serwanja, NTV.
You're still watching Morning at NTV. We now cross over to Brian and Joel standing by to find out what's making news in today's papers. Good morning, Brian, once again.
Good morning, Mabel. And the woes or the troubles of Elias Lukwago still go on. And this morning we wake up to the headline on the Daily Monitor saying Lukwago wants referendum to end the mess at KCCA. We'll be looking at that. And of course, with the red pepper also here, the troubles also with Sarah Kajingo, who is the presidential press assistant. Someone the other day said had his Twitter boss, something like that. We'll be looking at, yes, that's Tamale Minun. We'll be looking at the red pepper and the Daily Monitor when we return. It's the 2nd of September 2014, and the Morning at NTV's press review comes to you from the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop. Joel saying good morning, Joel.
Good morning.
And Simon Kasiate, who we should teach some basic principles of...
basic decorum.
Decorum,
Simon should be here in a bit. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good for you.
Awesome, man. Feeling good about this month, but very scared that the year is ending. So
scared? Why scared?
A couple of the resolutions that you set out, and you have 3 months to get them done.
I know. But we keep going. But it's good you have goals anyway. It's because you see, if you aim at nothing, you hit it each time you try.
I know a person who said for them, having no goal is a goal.
That's why. What? Yeah, so it is a goal, but what kind of goal?
When you achieve something, you know, it's good that it comes as a surprise. You're like, oh, I didn't know I could do this.
Well, I think that's meant on because there are people who say that, look, I don't want to set my expectations so high. Let me set them low so that I don't disappoint myself. So others don't set goals. Then when they achieve, But no, have some kind of goal. You might not hit it, but at least you're aiming somewhere. You know where you're headed to.
Right. Lukwago wants referendum to end the mess at KCCA.
It's interesting how he wants to end it. He's talking about a referendum to determine, for people to determine whether KCCA should be led by elected people or appointed people. I don't know. This is my thought about Kampala. I'll tell you what. In centuries, Kampala would not be sorted out by an elected leader. It would be a hard one. It would be a hard call to make. Why? Because you see, as a politician, your hands are tied. Your hands are tied. You have your voters. You cannot throw vendors off the streets. You cannot make some hard decisions.
Off the railway,
that kind of thing. Because you see, you're trying to be as charitable, etc., and that kind of thing. You're looking into the next election, unfortunately. Because I mean, look, Kampala has had elected leaders all this while. What have they done? This lady has been in office for 2.5 years. Look at what she's done. I may not agree with her modus operandi much of the time. Sometimes I think, well, not necessarily her, of course, because when I see these yellow-clad guys beating up people, surely it's not Moses who tells them, go and beat up people. Sometimes I think they're very high-handed, they're very totalitarian. But Kampala cannot be remedied by unelected officials. It would
If
be
you
a hard
look
one.
at major cities of the world,
Let's talk about New York.
Yeah, how do elected leaders work? Is it that, okay, he will do his political part, but the technocrats must advise on what they know best?
Absolutely.
They do the hands-on thing. For you, just an overseer.
An overseer.
Did Lukwago understand his role here? When they appointed the executive director, did Lukwago wanted to be under overseer and technocrat, which he can't be?
I think Lukwago knows his role. Lukwago is a very good lawyer. He's a man with a good head on his shoulders. He knows what he's about. But he's a politician too. And he's the kind who does not want to in any way be seen to associate with the ruling government.
Yes.
In any way.
Yes.
In any way.
Yes.
Yeah. So for him, it's a political call. And that's why he's doing whatever it is that he's doing. Even when something seems
you know, you talk about leaders who care about the next generation. Okay, and other people who care about the next election.
The politicians, the latter.
I see Lukwago going there. He's thinking about the next election, not the generation, because if you do not want to be associated with the ruling party, which controls the majority of this parliament, which controls the city,
which is in government anyway. You may not like them, but look, if you go to work for them, I mean with them, you've got to bury some of these hatchets. You see, when Mao went to Gulu, you know, he was an opposition leader, but he said, look, I need to work with these fellows. You know, they're the ones that avail me the monies to operate, etc., etc. He didn't necessarily switch sides, you know, but...
And he has not switched up to now.
He worked with them. Look at Salam Musumba and Kamuli. She's doing her best. Of course, some people feel she has now crossed over, slowly but surely. You know, they say she has clandestine meetings and that kind of thing. I don't know. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be an LC5 chairman, and Lukwago is one, though for the city it is Lord Mayor, you've got to work with these guys.
All right. I know the Lord Mayor watches this show in the morning, and lots of people advising him on his next course of action. Will be following that story very closely here at NTV. Public Varsities Board to stay, says Minister. Days ago, a lawyer won the case.
About 2 days ago, was it not the other day?
Saying, you know, it is illegal.
You know,
Hijab is illegal. Why do you have to? Why do we have to go through that exam? Yet there's a board that is supposed to see whether we go to university or not. So the minister says no, it will stay because there are loopholes that board can curb.
I don't know whether the minister is overriding court. You know, it stems from a case, a young man that did apply for law. I think he got 19 points. He applied. He started the pre-entry exam. He scored 63%. He qualified anyway. You know, but they denied him a slot. They gave him another course on government sponsorship. Business administration was there about. But he says that, no, I wanted to do law. That's what I want to do. And they said, look, you did not apply for it through the Pujab, those forms we fill and that kind of thing. And so they denied him that. And he went to court, and court ruled, well, this body, there's no act of parliament which institutes it. You know, for bodies such as those, they've got to be instituted by an act of parliament.
Yes.
This one is not the case. And so court, you know, says it is null and void. But wait to see, because now the minister is saying it has got to stay.
Yes.
What do you expect should have the last
word?
Well,
this morning you're in luck because we'll be having the lawyer of this student. And he'll be telling us on what perimeter he argued, of course, his case and the way forward. Since now, government says the board will stay. And stay.
He's a lawyer who I think knows the law. You know, I'm told there are lawyers who know the law, and then there are lawyers who know the judge. But this one seems to know his thing.
Knows the law, yeah.
Okay, good for him. Now, great responsible for MP's dates. This is my namesake, Dr. John Senyonyi, the UCU Vice Chancellor.
Yeah.
Look, I know we are hounding MPs a great deal. You know, we want to break their necks and that kind of thing. But look at Ugandan society generally. They will operate. And I'm not in any way trying to give this as an alibi for what is happening to the MPs and so on. But generally, I think Ugandans, we are bent on hedonism. We love pleasure. We love pleasure, and that is why go to any of these beaches. Monday to Friday, they have people.
But you
people Ugandans go to bars Monday to Sunday.
You're not going to find MPs at the beach.
No, I'm just giving an example of what the Ugandan society generally is like. We are very hedonistic. We like pleasure. We like to, you know, to have fun and that kind of thing. We spend money we don't have to impress people who don't care, and that is money we do not even have, and that kind of thing. You know, so. I think it stems across. It's just a replica of what our society is like. And We all need to style up,
you know,
myself inclusive.
and of course to excuse some of our MPs who clearly, you know, the other day I was listening to Mwanga Chivumbi, and you know, someone just suggested, it was one of those things, you know, the man works with an envelope of money. And as and when a request comes up, he has cash ready to give. And so you find such things, they have to make the voters happy. Now, this is just in Kampala. What if when he goes back to Butambala, where someone asks for alcohol, salt, soap?
After all, the president is doing the same.
They're in a very, you know, it's a catch-22. They don't know what to do, and they keep amassing money. And if you have the president to give you 110 million every 3 months, why not? You give it to your electorate so that you're guaranteed of the next election.
What you're saying is quite concomitant to the cartoon here in the Daily Monitor. President Museveni has told churches and mosques to stop bothering him into making financial contributions to their projects. I am sometimes tempted to think that I think our president has spoiled us. Just like a father can spoil their child, you know, whatever they ask you, give them and that kind of thing. And I think His Excellency, the President, has spoiled us, has spoiled people. You know, he goes to a function, donates money and that kind of thing. They're inaugurating a bishop, throws them a 300 million shilling worth of
Pajero,
you know, gives money and that kind of thing. So what do you expect people to do? You know, so wherever they see you, they expect money because you have, in many ways, aligned them to think that way. So could it be his undoing? I think so. But we need to slowly but surely move away from that. Ugandans need a hand up and not a handout. And I know leaders have cultivated it, so it's going to be a tall order for them. They're going to be heavy. That's why now, wherever they go, people ask them for the money.
They want money, right.
But we need to move away from that. We need to slowly move away from that.
Yesterday we had the national coordinator of the census, Mr. Mashate, and the Omkam of Bunyoro here enumerated. I don't know how many of you have been enumerated. Someone yesterday, I don't know where they were joking, but they say when he went back home, he was told by his guard that the enumerator came, peeped, you know, the window, he saw some dirty utensils and wrote in the form, single guy living here. And then went, and then just put this number on his house. And I know some of the enumerators, I don't think they got enough training for this job, because I know another guy who complained that, what kind of people are these they are sending? Did they go to school? So I think that's one of the other questions Mashate will answer when he next returns. But we are following the census closely. Have you been enumerated?
Yes, I have.
You have? How?
How?
When? So you went back home?
You know, I look, and I've had people say that this is very useless and that kind of thing. Government anyway is not going to plan for us and so on. It's just like saying I will not pay taxes because roads are bad, our healthcare system is a broken down one, schools are in a tenement state and that kind of thing. No, let's play our part. Let's play our part. I want to know how many Ugandans are in this country, for example. If you are in the opposition, you're talking about being the leaders of tomorrow, the next government.
You need to know how many people you're going to lead.
Exactly. You know, so when I see some people saying this is a useless thing, no, it's not right. And that is why I saw basically being enumerated.
Yes.
That's a good thing. We need to do our very, very best to be enumerated. But look, you talk about a huge number of people. Kampala, for example, during the day has a population of 3 to 4 million people. In the night, there are 1.5 million. Now that big chunk, they leave their homes very early in the morning and they return very late. Yes. And not all of them have somebody at home who will answer these questions and that kind of thing. Right. It's a tall order, but I want to imagine UBOS has a plan for that so that they can take care of all that as well.
You can check out Besije in the red paper as he's being enumerated, and the story here is that the enumerators clashed at Besije residence, and
why?
I'm fearing to say what they crashed about, because it's not it was not really dramatic. But something that has more drama, Cook Sue Makere University for 2.5 billion shillings. Could the walls of Makere University, you know?
You know, the other day, the president apparently has promised to give professors 15 million shillings. Look, at the end of the day, money has got to come from somewhere. Money has got to come from somewhere. Government has, because the university was proposing a 10% increment on the tuition of the students, and government said, no, calm down, we are going to give you that money. So this money has got to come from somewhere, be it from government, but you see many times government doesn't produce the money. That's why the university administration says, look, the students have got to pay more because lecturers have got to be paid, research has got to be done, there are facilities that have got to be run, etc., etc. And I know it's tight, it's tight. Tuition is expensive and parents have got to bend their backs over backwards to avail this money. It's tough, but money has got to come from somewhere, without a doubt.
You know, I've always said, even on this show, attach value to what you do. Be the best at it. So that when I come to you, Joel, and you tell me, I want this, I tell you, I need this amount of money. You do not even start to negotiate with me because you know I am actually more valuable than that. And I can see lecturers doing this. So good on you. Good. Go for it. Of course, there are other things to think about, like the strikes. You know,
and you know, there's
parents
a higher
that have paid tuition will be in trouble, of course. But the fact that you're attaching value to your job, fantastic.
No, we need to pay our professionals a lot better. There's a higher tuition rate, be it in universities, in hospitals, etc., etc. And they're not going too far. They're going here, Kenya, Rwanda, because they're being paid a lot better. We don't seem to value them. I think we should. Quote of the day in the Daily Monitor here. This is by former Tanzanian President Ali Hassan Mwinyi in Kiswahili. He says there was an East African language committee. It was born in Tanzania, fell sick in Kenya, and was buried in Uganda. Interesting, interesting. We're talking yesterday about, you know, why Ugandans seem ambivalent about this whole Swahili thing. They're not too excited about it. I told you I've been learning Swahili. As an individual, I feel I should, yeah. But generally, Ugandans, for some reason, they're not too excited about it. Maybe they've not gotten the message of, look, this Swahili thing is going to better the way you trade, etc., etc. Perhaps it is far-fetched. We have been trading with South Sudan. We don't speak their language necessarily, you know. But I think we should learn it.
Well, in the spirit of the East African community, I think we should. But for me, the argument would be to make it an official language. That is far from even possible.
Because the world is a lot bigger than East Africa, for
yes,
goodness sake, you know. So
just
just like the other day, they were talking about teaching students, young children, in their local languages. I thought, what is that? Who does that? You know, you go and learn Yolusoga. Where are you going to take Yolusoga, for example? Beyond the Bopadengo.
All right, those who attended the cancer run on Sunday, thank you very much. And of course, Ali Hassan Mwinyi was in the country to commission that. But, you know, an opinion here, Nicholas Sengoba saying, run for your life if government is asleep. And Rotary exhibited that, you know. We have a group of young people here who use social media to do good, 40-40. And we have people who have fundraised for a child on Facebook to go and get heart surgery. Is that where we are going? And finally saying, you know what? Government has given up on us. So since we have the money, let's get 1, 2, 3 guys, they get a Facebook page, we put the cause there, and rally people. I think it's now called crowdfunding. And it's working, just like we do for wedding meetings.
But you see, for me, I'm of the view that we need to push for both, yeah? As individuals, let's help out people, you know, and we need not do it, because sometimes I'm tempted to imagine that some people who do, and I hope I don't get misconstrued here, yeah? I know there are people who go out there for a very good cause, yeah? But sometimes as you see people calling the media, take pictures as we hand over these bags of sugar and that kind of thing, I'm thinking, give us a break. You know, they're just calling for media attention and that kind of thing, yeah?
Right.
With or without media attention, help people out there. And it doesn't have to be people who are at Deep Sam Village. Around in your confines where you stay, there are people that need help, you know. Reach out to them. I think we need to do that. That said, we should not give up on calling on government to play its role. We pay taxes in this country, for goodness sake, you know. So when we see our monies,
if we've been calling on government for
and
the
we
past
need not
28
stop.
years, and
We need not stop.
nothing has been done, why don't we just use other methods to make sure that we get this country ahead?
And
there's
you see,
a
that's why
word
I'm
that is going to be built because some Rotarians decided, well, government will not build a cancer ward.
And
so
for me, that's why I'm
let's
saying
go
we need to do
Centenary
both.
Bank, tell them to give us this amount of money, maybe Pepsi and NTV partner with us. Let's get this thing
Without
started.
a doubt, let's do that as individuals, as corporate organizations, as groups of people. Let's do whatever we can to ameliorate this country, yeah? But you see, it is your citizenry responsibility to ensure that government does a good job. You elected them. Anyway, whether or not you elected them, they're your leaders. You know, so call them to account. You pay taxes. What does that tax money do? It's being siphoned all over the place. You need to hold them to account. So let's do whatever we can in our communities, individually, help people out and so on. I know people who are doing awesome things out there and no one knows about them. And it's okay anyway, because you see, what your right hand does, your left hand should not, you know.
Yes.
But as we do that, let's call on government to do their role.
I've always been thinking about becoming a farmer. In the Prosper magazine this morning, growing an enterprise and reaping money from grains. Check out this story, and he's making it to the top 100 SMEs in this country. The top 100 awards are, you know, are upon us. I think they're going to be in December, and we'll be seeing some of the companies that will make it to that list. But also,
you know, previously, the quintessential farmer was denigrated. You know, you are a farmer. What is that? But today people are resigning there, you're in jobs to go and farm and look after a chicken and that kind of thing, and they're making it big, you know, so who knows, that's the way to go.
I'm thinking strongly about this farming thing. I know a gentleman who started, I think, with about 50 chicken, like using his wall and part of his parking lot. And now he's reaping big. The Rainbow Magazine for our children. Check out Home's darling Nelson Mandela, Susan Achen. And of course, tips to eating healthy, and as the kids are about to to go back to school, you can be equipped, and of course some peanuts here.
Now, former minister sees the light at Park. This is the Honorable Kabakumba Masiko. You know, she once called the Public Accounts Committee a torture chamber when she faced it. That time when they were accusing her of Sijui lifting a mast and taking it to her radio station and that kind of thing. But she has joined the committee where he works.
Hey.
Yeah, man, I don't know about woman. Oh, come on. but she's joining it now, and she thinks, all right, let me go and join these guys and see how they do their thing. Good for you, good for you. Somebody writes an article here. This is my friend Ethan Mussolini. He says, take a chance and stop making excuses. Look, we make so many excuses in this country. Many of them, you know, and I'm not innocent myself, but you know, we need to transcend that. People, for example, I was trying to make a correlation between Ugandans and Kenyans. In Uganda, for example, when it rains, that's an excuse for everything to come to a standstill, for people not to go to work or to delay, etc., etc. In Kenya, people literally walk in the rain, go about their businesses and that kind of thing. I studied with Kenyans, and many times thought of these guys as very uncool. You know, they're the ones who would be first to rush on the queue for food. You know, they would be the first in class and that kind of thing. Ugandans, as we were walking, would walk balancing with swag. These guys would walk as if they are being chased by somebody. But you know, it's because they're that way. They have that oomph. Could it be why their economy is 3 times plus bigger than ours? I don't know.
Well, the debate, of course, someone saying that one Kenyan can do the job of 4 Ugandans.
6, actually.
6 Ugandans.
And then 1 Tanzanian can do work done by 3. 1 Tanzanian can do work done by 3 Ugandans. That's a report of back then. It's been disputed.
But Joel, you know, I know lots of lazy Kenyans and Tanzanians.
Me too.
Lots of them.
I think that report was exaggerated,
yes.
But it has a bit of merit to it.
And they will never do a quarter of what I've done. Because they are still
but that's you. We're talking about the average Ugandan.
What is your definition of an average Ugandan?
An average Ugandan is the everyday fellow who, you know, wakes up, life is muzuri sana, I don't know, they're the kind that are, like we are saying, looking up to government to do everything for them and that kind of thing, even though we expect government to do what they are supposed to do. But we need to stop giving excuses. I need to do that as well.
Well,
I hope you too.
Well, Mabel, of course, excuses as far as the international scene is concerned. We're also seeing lots of Israel and Palestinian, the fight for the Gaza Strip is still going on as people are making excuses for not leaving that place. But of course, Egypt doing all it can to mediate in this crisis. We also know that Obama is still hitting hard in Iraq. ISIS are making headlines. What else is making the news on the international scene?
I don't know if you've heard, Brian, about Welbeck. Have you? You've heard about him transferring to Arsenal this morning. I don't know. I think we'll be talking about it later. I'm still trying to get my head around it. Yeah, that is a story we actually have that I'll be talking about later. Starting off, we'll start with the Sky News page. Now, if you look at these gentlemen, they actually don't look Chinese, but these are Chinese, Muslim Chinese. They are a minority, and they're actually being harassed by the government because, by the Chinese government, they think they are actually terrorists. Now, this is a region that is rich in oil and gas, and it's in the Xinjiang province, and over 100 died over.
Don't do anything crazy. Veronica. Veronica.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
We could do this all night.
Guess what show just won Best Entertainment Program?
Log in for the glitz and glamour of Kampala's most flamboyant people and events.
I'm here today for Coco Fingers video shoot.
Big up NTV, thanks for the support. Log in, ndiwa nole ronzi zeko kakasa.
You're Golfy and you're watching Login.
Don't touch that dial, you know what I'm saying. It's Login.
We could do this all night.
Morning at NTV with
Day of September 2014. We now cross.
Good morning, it is here at the rooftop, and a very good morning for one university student, one Manzi, Johnny Manzi, that won an interesting case against Makerere. You'll hear a lot more about this case and, you know, the other developments coming up when we get back shortly. Welcome to the big story this morning. My name is Joel Senyonyi. Joining me today is John Musime, a lawyer. This microphone. It is now a microphone. Good to have you here.
Good to have to be here, Joe. Thank you very much for having me.
I'm told there are lawyers who know the law and there are lawyers who know the judge. Where do you fall?
Well, I know the judge because every lawyer has to know the judge before you get on. You know which judge is doing your case.
Well, of course, what I meant is knowing the judge in court. But
I'll only stick to the things I know, Joel. I want to be educated more by you on that. I'll stick to what I know.
Tell me about this case, this Makerere University student that has won this, I don't know what to call it, landmark case, if you like, the history of it. What is it?
Yes, John, this is indeed a landmark case because what it does in our jurisdiction is change or, in fact, properly align the way students join university. What happened in this case is that the University of Makerere, through the academic registrar, put out an advert, both in the press and on their website, inviting people who had a certain qualification to come and sit the pre-entry exam. Johnny, like 1,659 other persons, applied. And indeed, the academic registrar was in receipt of his application. He sat the examination and aced it. In fact, he finished number 36.
Out of?
Out of the 1,559 or so people that had.
63%, is it?
Correct, and thereby finished 36. So when the results came back with the persons that had been admitted on the course on government sponsorship, Johnny's name was not on the list. And so we took the trouble to find out why the university had done this. And they explained to us that Johnny had supposedly not filled a form called a Pujab form. Now, when we looked at the law, it is quite clear that the process of admission is a statutory process. The law has set out who will admit, what they will consider when they're admitting a student. The law has placed the obligation to admit students on the university itself, and specifically on the academic registrar. Now, when you look at the Pujab forms are forms of the Ministry of Education. And catch this, Joel. Throughout so many sections of the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act, there's not one place, Joel, there's not one place where the Ministry of Education is named. So that is why we found it rather straight, and the court agreed with us that the university and in fact the academic registrar were the right people to be sued.
We've always felt, I don't know, I'm sure you did back in the day. We had the Pujab forms, we had the Jab forms. It was a requirement as we were going to the university.
You can tell me why you think it was a requirement. The court has simply stated it isn't.
The minister, of course, is coming out, as we read in this morning this press review, that, look, this Pujab is going to remain, and one would think that's punching holes in your case. What happens thereafter? Because the Minister of Education, one would imagine, would overrule. Even though legally we think the courts of law should have, the buck should stop with them.
Well, Joel, I can tell that even you are baffled by the statement or trying to make sense of it. I hope I also make sense of it. The point is simply this, that if the board is going to stay, then it must stay legally. And we have a standing decision of court. And unless it is overturned, there is not one pronouncement, there's not one person in this country who by proclamation or decree can reverse a court process. The way you reverse a court process is clearly known. You place an appeal and hopefully it is reversed. But unless and until that is done, the position of the court still remains. And in any case, I don't know if the minister has looked at the law. It should be pretty clear if the minister did. It is for the universities to admit students. In fact, this is why we think that, in fact, the law school of Makerere University was, in fact, doing the right thing. Our problem with them was for them to want to go a leg forward and leg back. If the university is doing the admissions, then let them do it and not call in to aid the Ministry of Education.
Now, of course, the relationship between this is students score certain marks at the university, at high school as they finish A-level, and then they've got to see the pre-entries. And this might sound diversionary, but it's stated to it. You know, there has been qualms about this whole pre-entry exam, and some feel, look, I do qualify at the other stage. I fill these Pujab forms, etc., etc. I meet the requirement. And then here I come, for one reason or another, I'm not able to hit this. I understand there's some people in court or relatedly. And so we, the lay people, are trying to find a nexus. Somebody qualifies at this stage, but then they do not qualify at this other stage, which also seems, you know, fuzzy, if you like. And then there are others that probably might not qualify, supposedly at the A-level stage, like your client.
My client was among the best USCE.
No, what I mean is,
I must clarify that.
What I mean from the context of Pujab forms, at least according to what the other side is raising, but then they qualify at the university, you know, pre-entry exam. Where should the nexus be, one asks? Is this pre-entry exam anyway that relevant? I've had some people say, look, this is not that relevant.
Now, I think, Joel, you ask very pertinent questions. And this is precisely one of the reasons I agreed to be on your show. To impress upon you and the viewers out there the necessity for there to be public clarity on this issue, because it's an issue of wide public interest. In fact, in the law at least, there is supposed to be no nexus at all between the Ministry of Education and the university. And
well, the university, especially this one being a public one, is run by the Ministry of Education.
I can tell you the law thinks otherwise, and this is where I was coming. This act is a very special act. You see, most acts of parliament will have something called a long title, which is supposed to tell you what the act is about. But in addition to the long title, this act has a specific section, which is section 3, which talks about the objects of the act. Now, among the very many objects of the act, this act is intended to protect two very important things. One, the autonomy of the university and academic freedom. Look, academia worldwide is very important. In fact, in Islamic states, a lot of these academic edicts are given in hadith and all this. So the academia is so important that it's important that they insulate it against the main bureaucracy. That's why Parliament, in its wisdom, insulated all public universities against the main bureaucracy. They get their funding directly from their consolidated fund. And catch this, Joel, there's a misunderstanding that perhaps is very important for us to clarify. Government does not sponsor students. Government sponsors programs to which the university admits students.
So it indirectly sponsors the students?
Well, that is your interpretation, but I am telling you as a matter of law that the government of the Republic of Uganda sponsors programs to which the universities then admit students. So in the whole of its processes, look at it this way. You have had many times when lecturers are agitating for increased pay. Have they asked the Ministry of Education for that pay? They ask it from the university because the university is an autonomous entity. And catch this.
But they sit with government, the president sometimes, and the minister.
Certainly the president has a place in the university as a visitor. The Act makes specific provision for the president. You see, whoever must participate in the university affairs must point to a section in the law that allows them to. Punjab has none.
Pope Ferdinand Ahimbisibwe, a friend of mine, he's the lawyer of Makerere University.
A friend of mine too, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah.
He says that, look, Manzi is suing the wrong party, yeah, and this ultimately is going to affect many innocent individuals who, you know, along the way will have their toes stepped on. Do you hear him?
I'll tell you what. That particular issue, happily, was an issue in the matter, and the court specifically addressed it. And they said that they were the right parties. We wouldn't have gotten a judgment if it was against the wrong party. These arguments we dealt with in the injunction, okay? And the court has pronounced itself on it. Again, which is very, very critical for you and the viewers there to understand, is that a university is a corporate soul, which means that it's a separate legal entity, and it has no connection with the Ministry of Education at all. In fact, during arguments, Oscar Chika, who happens to be a senior partner at my law firm, enumerated all the instances where the minister is mentioned in the law. It clearly states what the minister will do. It has nothing to do with admissions. On the other hand, we found very specific provisions of that law mandating, commanding the academic registrar of every public universities to do admissions. Now, the academic registrar cannot shirk their duties and for administrative convenience or anything, arrogate themselves powers that are otherwise left for Parliament, for them to create illegal bodies. In fact, the question that we should be asking is this: how did we come to this? Where was the public machinery? Because this law has been on our statute book since 2001. How come we've been doing it wrong all this while? So I think it does not quite help for us, you know, to hide behind things. The question is, we have an issue, let's deal with it. Let the Attorney General, let the university, let all of us interested parties, because if you went to Makerere like I did, I'm a member of the university by law because I attended it. We are all interested parties. Let's sort out this thing in the law. Simply insisting and appearing to be defiant, I think, in my view, will simply not do Joel.
John, try and clarify this, because when you state and say that Makerere University is totally divorced, if you like, from the Ministry of Education, there's no relationship at all, if I'm to quote you right. I'm thinking that sounds convoluted, because you see, to you know, me and the other lay people, we are thinking, wait a minute, Makerere University is a public institution. It is run by the government of Uganda under the Ministry of Education. They get funding from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Education, etc., etc. And so when you adapt that, I get a little bit confused, and I'm sure many of our viewers do. So try and break that down for us. What do you mean there is no kind of nexus at all? There should be some kind. Maybe that's what you need to explain.
Joel, I highly commend the ruling of Justice Yasin Nyanzi on this matter to you. Kindly read it. The court specifically addressed the issues of this, because we raised them, the issues of how the funding and the operations of the university works. I'll tell you what, the monies that go to each and every university, public university in Uganda, is arrogated directly by Parliament through what is called an Appropriation Act. The money comes from the Consolidated Fund in the Bank of Uganda straight to the universities. And the aim of this is to insulate the university against the main bureaucracy. In other words, universities are autonomous. Please, it is not a question of feelings or thinking of all along a thought. The black and white of the law is clear. The law is that universities, public universities at least, are separate and distinct from the Ministry of Education.
There's been quite a number of issues raised, especially to do with law at Makerere University and the legal department there. I've seen some people suing, mugs, or some it is these pre-entry issues, etc., etc. I know a friend of mine who's also suing. I think was he denied? You know, did he, apparently fail and that kind of thing. And I'm thinking, is this too much lawyering going on? Is there a particular problem with the law faculty at Makerere University? What is your make of it?
Well, if there's too much lawyering, then the courts will probably throw out the unworthy cases. There can never be such a thing as too much lawyering. If it is too much lawyering, then a court, I'm sure, will have occasion to say that this is too much lawyering going out. I am aware also that people tried to challenge the pre-entry exam and were not successful. In fact, what you need to understand is that we are making the opposite case. We are making the opposite case, which is this, is that admissions must be done by the university itself. In other words, the pre-entry is precisely the very way universities should be admitting students, at least the faculty of law.
So does this then change things as we know them? That means that...
I suppose, certainly. This is why we are saying this is a landmark case. But think about it, Joel. I'm sure you are aware of universities elsewhere. If you wanted to go to the University of London, would you apply to the equivalent of Ministry of Education in London? You would apply to the University of London, right? That is precisely what is in our law. Anything else is misguided, in my view.
Look, the other question that is raised, many times I've seen government, especially, well, through now law at Makerere, trying to cut down on the numbers. Many people feel that, look, we have copious amounts, if you like, of lawyers. We have them all over the place. And that is why we are trying to downsize, you know, cut down the likes of Manzi's, cut down, I don't know, so that we have lesser and lesser lawyers in this country. Do you think we have too many of them? And for that matter, we need to find ways of trying to nip that in the bud, if you like.
2 points that I must clarify. One, as a member of the Uganda Law Society, I want to tell you that there are less than 2,000 registered advocates in Uganda. Express that as a ratio of the Ugandan population, and you still see that, in fact, we do not have enough advocates. So it is a misconception. Number 2, in fact, you need people like Manzi in law, and not their opposite. Because the kid has time and again demonstrated his ability, not just ability, but also willingness. This is a 19-year-old. And we are trying to get him out of the storm of the media, but at all that cost, insisting to go to law school. In fact, you need people with that kind of ability and zeal to do it. Also, it is a misconception to imagine, I do not doubt, of course, that we need more engineers and lawyers. No doubt at all. But there is not even enough lawyers for you in Uganda as it is. So in my view, that is a misconception. And as a member of the Uganda Law Society, I'm proud to make that clarification.
Look, the other side is saying we are going to appeal. How ready are you to go the long haul if you are?
Well, if we are given instructions, this is what we do. We are happy to do an appeal. At a personal level, although, you know, I think responsibility would call for both parties that we get this 19-year-old boy out of the attention and the stress. You see, court processes can be quite stressful. I do not think that Makerere is going to be bankrupted simply because they've admitted one extra student to law.
Well, it will be setting a precedent because there will be many others that will arise and say, look, let's rewind things a little bit here.
Fine. Fine, we are happy to do it, but I would imagine that let us, the adults, sort out the technical issues of the admission, and we're quite happy to do that without the 19-year-old. But if the wisdom in Makerere is such that they want to block this young man from going, then if our clients give us instructions, we'll have no option. But stick with it.
Actually, I wanted to ask, have you had some kind of, you know, away from court kind of talk, negotiations, you like to call them, and come to sign some kind of agreement? Has that happened? Has it worked?
Joel, I'm not at liberty to comment on that. Yes.
All right. John Musime, good lawyer who seems to have a good head on his shoulders. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, Joel. It's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
My opinion is coming up shortly. But I know one or two things that I get to hear out there. Things like justice delayed, is justice denied. I'm told it is actually a lot better for you to release, what, 100 innocent people than to have 100 guilty people than to have one innocent one left behind bars, or that kind of analogy. Look, at the end of the day, we want to see progression in this good country, progression, especially in the judiciary, because now we seem to see, you know, some kind of friction between the judiciary and the executive, because the courts of law say, look, this young man has won the case. The minister comes up a day or two later on and says, look, this is going to stay as it is. And those of us on the sidelines are thinking, what exactly is going on? At the end of the day, we want to see justice prevailing. You know, if young people go to school, their parents fork out a great deal, pay tuition, and then these young people burn the midnight oil and they excel, I think it is only fair that we admit them for what they deserve to be admitted for, and they go the long haul, and hopefully we can all keep making this country a much better country. That said, of course, I don't know. John tells me he cannot deliberate on the details of whether or not they've sat outside of court to agree. I don't know. I would imagine that would probably save us a lot more, save this young man a lot of this stress and the media attention that he's getting, that might not be too good for him, whatever the case might be. Can we sort this out as soon as yesterday? That's our show for this morning. Morning at NTV continues shortly. Do stay with us.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
Hello, is this Munji?
Yo, this is Munji.
I am feeling your new Virgin Jam right now. It is off the hook.
Thanks, man. I'm also feeling you. Seducer.
Make a call for whatever reason. Call someone, call anyone, and change your life. Make a call and you could win 100 million shillings, a car, or a smartphone with free data for a year. Plus, win 2 free minutes every day. Airtel. Together we can.
I see colors, the wonder of colors in everything I touch, in everything that reminds me of a way of beauty, a life of plenty, in every little story, in every crowning glory, a new.
Regal Paints. Paint it, love it.
Kampala has been voted in the past as one of the favorite cities for tourists, one of the most peaceful cities. That is something that is changing.
Kale Kaihura, the Inspector General of Police, and President Yoweri Museveni, their alliance, they can only crack down or stop individual strikes and individual demonstrations. But I don't think they can stop the growth of militancy.
No holds barred.
Besigye and Lukwago have particular grievances against the government, some legitimate, some misguided. What should the police do? Of course, the police has to intervene, A, to protect the power of President Yoweri Museveni and the NRM from disruption by Besigye and Lukwago, but B, also, never forget this, to protect those ordinary people whose property gets destroyed.
I want to ask that many think that they've actually been frustrated.
Opposition parties in Africa do not tend to be constructed around policy differences. FDC lacks a glue to hold its coalition of different power-hungry individuals together.
Incisive.
You see, the NRM is more divided internally than the FDC. The advantage with the NRM is it has political power.
Analytical.
I think that one of the best organized political parties in Uganda is the PPP, the People's Progressive Party with Dan Sali. This idea that everybody is telling around the world that Africans are poor and they cannot contribute to their own political and social emancipation is crap. In fact, I think that the opposition parties in Uganda have to win an election in an unfair and unleveled ground.
Newsnight with Andrew Mwenda.
Ekifo ekimu kisawa musu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli lwakuna otereevu ku NTV akawungeezi.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
You can bring everybody in parliament as long as they can wake up and vote for the NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am a Muyai?
It's absolutely true. I admired President Museveni.
Is the ICC a first code targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only the two individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
Welcome back. Remember, you can be a part of the show by texting us on 6565, following us on Twitter at Morning at NTV, as well as Facebook, which I have open right behind here. Godfrey Nkugwa says he's not happy with the latest Arsenal signing. We have Mehdi saying he wanted a flyover over certain junctions on the Ginger Road. Now on to the big story. We have Brenda saying, I think the government should stop these PUJAB forms for all students to be admitted at the university. They need to sit pre-entry exams because some students cheat at A level. That is her opinion. And we also have Noah saying, congratulations to you guys. I think this is an eye-opener for the public litigants in Uganda. We also have Noah here saying, how I wish some universities which expel pregnant students are also tried in the courts of law. Well, do keep those comments coming. Morning at NTV is our Facebook page. We now have 24,274 likes. If you haven't yet liked our page, please go ahead and like it. We now cross over to Brian for today's Everyday Life. Good morning, Brian.
Morning, Mabel. This morning, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Who is the person you want to become? Have you left that, your dream or this awesome vision, to fate, to time? Are you just waiting for the world to have mercy on you and say, oh, finally, Mabel, get it, you have been waiting for a long time? Or you're going to get up and you're going to start to pursue right now the person you want to become? Most people have suggested other things like, money, other things like the status quo in companies. But for us here at Morning at NTV, we are calling it an enemy that is called average. We're going to look at that and how you can fight that, especially when it comes to making sure you better yourself at whatever you do. Coming up on Everyday Life. Joining me this morning is Sudesh Kaka, the CEO of Sudesh International. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
What do you do at Sudesh? That sounds like your name. You personalize the thing.
Yeah, I have my name on the company, but I don't own the entire company. What we do at Sudesh, we're a peak performance training and coaching company. Okay. So that's what we do to enable people so that they can become better at what they do in their workplaces and at the places that they serve.
All right.
That's what we do.
Oh, fantastic. Now, this morning, I want us to look at helping people to better themselves, or, to become, equipping yourself, I think. That's what they do, whether it's for your next task or something like that. And I'll ask you right away, what are the characteristics of, you've done a lot of consultancy, characteristics of people who are average?
First of all, Brian, it's very interesting to note that no one is excited about waking up to go and work for an average company and go to an average restaurant and put on, you're not putting on the cheapest shirt today. Well, maybe that guy is putting on the cheapest shirt, but no one wants to be average. So we have that inherent conditioning in us to be excellent, but we don't want to take action. And the characteristics of some of those people is that they, they settle for less. They settle for less. You go and it's like being on flying first class, and you ask for, you just sit there and you don't ask for the caviar, for the wine, for all these things. Then the other thing is they are so laid back. They wait for things to come to them. They don't go out and make something of themselves. So those are the two major characteristics of people that are usually average. They don't really have that initiative to do something.
Does it always have to do with your temperament? Because I know, for example, you see sanguines. Sanguines usually want to be all over the place, and they go for it. Whether you like it, they will just go. But people who maybe are phlegmatic or melancholy, they are always waiting because that's the person they are. Or it just has to do with someone who regardless of your temperament, you're just a lazy person who has no passion or desire to go to the next level?
The temperament can play part, but there's also conditioning. You know, as we grow up, we see things happening to us. We're talking about how, you know, in most homes in Uganda, you go and the children of the home are eating on stained plates and they have stained cups. And you, the visitor, you have the best cutlery. And,
Yes.
The parents have been conditioning these children and telling them, you know what, you are not the best, so we won't give you the best. And with that conditioning, they come and show up in the workplace and, you know, there is a promotion coming up and they sit back. And because they are used to getting average things in life.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Well, aren't there things that just make us stay average, things we can't control? Maybe let's start with those things that we can't control really. And of course, you'll help me also talk about the excuses that we give for staying in the same place for years.
I would say there are, you know, the things that we can't control are not strong enough to make us average, unfortunately. So that leaves us no excuse to become average. But, you know, I don't know if you've heard of the law of diminishing intent. I wrote it down on my way here. It says, the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds that you will never do it. If you just keep on procrastinating and procrastinating, you know, it's scary to be the best. It's scary to go out and try it because you're going to fail. And so you hold back and you hold back and you hold back. And if you hold back, then you never get to achieve that. And some of the excuses are, you know, there are so many people that have failed. I'm very sure in your career, some people told you, hey, Brian, look, so many people
This is
never
not for
made
you.
it. This is not for you. And try something else. This is not for you. So many people never made it. But, you know, for every one successful person, for every one Bill Gates, there are tens of thousands of people that never made it from the Silicon Valley. So when we venture to be the best, we are beating odds. So we fear to fail as people. There's that fear. You know, when a kid falls in public, you laugh at them because they have fallen. So people fear to fail, and that's usually an excuse. The other excuse is, I don't know how this is going to turn out.
Yeah.
Because no one knows how it will turn out. Probably, you know, you can go to the School of Pharmacy and you end up in Chikubo.
Yes.
It can happen, but
life can just bring you all this stuff and
yes,
you're like,
That's an excuse of saying, I don't know how it's going to turn out. So does everyone who made it. They never knew how they were going to turn out.
Right.
Yes.
You know, especially, for example, in our trade, some people have conditioned themselves to wait and wait and say, time will bring. If I'm supposed to do this, I'll go for it one day. It will come to me, you know, like you talked about. But also I know in corporate companies, you know, you see a person who knows the trade, but is still waiting for the right time. How do you get yourself to that point so that you even make the people around you believe that you have the capacity to do that you want to do?
I think, first of all, you don't have to depend on people around you to believe that you can do it in order for you to do it. Because if you wait for that, it will never come. You have to first of all believe in yourself, then you sell that belief. And when you sell that belief, then they can believe in you. So if you just sit back and wait, then it doesn't really come to you. You have to, and there's a difference between procrastinating and timing. Procrastinating is, first of all, the conditions are there will never be the perfect time. You just, as long as you have even a quarter of the things, you just need to start. You don't have to wait to have everything.
Yeah.
I think you just have to take one step at a time, one step at a time.
Right.
So I think they just have to take the small steps and show the willingness to venture out and take action, other than waiting. There's never the perfect time.
Practical things that I can do now to make myself better, to make myself ready for my next big move, so that when it comes, I can just take a jet straight into it.
Okay, let's say you want a promotion at work, and you're at the junior level. One of the things that you have to do straight away is show up on time. Then, of course, do the work they've given you. But the other thing that you have to do is that you have to develop your mind, because first of all, you have to have the right thinking before you take the right actions. So you develop yourself, read books, hang out with people that are better than you, then do one most important thing that most people don't do. After you've bettered yourself, ask. You know, the Bible says, ask and you'll be given.
Yes.
Ask. Ask. Say, you know what, I feel I've developed this potential. I've done things that are beyond what I was given. So I feel I'm up for promotion. In the next appraisal, would you please consider me? Because I feel I'm ready.
Yes.
Ask. That's practical.
Ask. Well, maybe your takeout this morning is ask, and you shall be given. I read the good book, the Bible. I'm a strong believer in the word. And for me, one of the scriptures that works for me is the kingdom of God suffers violence. Okay? Take everything you want. Take everything you need by violence. Make sure that you become the best at whatever you do. And the rest shall fall in place. No one is going to remind you that you're Superman. No one is going to remind you that you are awesome. And I love the Americans for that. If no one will blow the trumpet for you, blow it for yourself.
I think you have to believe in yourself first before other people believe in you.
Yes. And then take it from there. Sudesh, thank you so much for joining us
It's
this
a pleasure.
morning. And of course, when we come back, Arsenal did something horrendous. How dare you sign Welbeck? Well, were we desperate? Brian Tuka will let us know. I think it's the worst move ever. I'm not happy this morning. But we'll look at it when we return on the Sports Update this morning. Stay with us.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Aro, give me 5 stress, 3 gonorrhea.
Kale muli wano, you think you've brought campasas omwana yenna asobola ogamba super deep si myaka gyaffe.
I'm like, I like my swag too. So what about it? Then she was like, I also like your accent. That village accent. Now.
Kati nekambuuza mukabete why are you crying? Nekagamba abasajja engeri gye bafulumiza mu lukwago.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover. Put that in Kiprotichi's accent.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover.
I'm going to blow your mind and I'm going to twist your taste buds. The flavors are already coming together. I can feel them. Very lovely, very appetizing, very healthy. Remember, the way you see it, the way you like it, is the way you get it from my kitchen to your kitchen.
Kampala has been voted in the past as one of the favorite cities for tourists, one of the most peaceful cities. That is something that is changing.
Kale Kaihura, the Inspector General of Police, and President Yoweri Museveni, their alliance, they can only crack down or stop individual strikes and individual demonstrations. But I don't think they can stop the growth of militancy.
No holds barred.
Besigye and Lukwago have particular grievances against the government, some legitimate, some misguided. What should the police do? Of course, the police has to intervene, A, to protect the power of President Yoweri Museveni and the NRM from disruption by Besigye and Lukwago, but B, also, never forget this, to protect those ordinary people whose property gets destroyed.
I want to ask that many think that they've actually been frustrated.
Opposition parties in Africa do not tend to be constructed around policy differences. FDC lacks a glue to hold its coalition of different power-hungry individuals together.
Incisive.
You see, the NRM is more divided internally than the FDC. The advantage with the NRM is it has political power.
Analytical.
I think that one of the best organized political parties in Uganda is the PPP, the People's Progressive Party with Ansali. This idea that everybody is peddling around the world that Africans are poor and they cannot contribute to their own political and social emancipation is crap. In fact, I think that the opposition parties in Uganda have to win an election in an unfair and unleveled ground.
Newsnight with Andrew Mwenda.
Hey there, Mr. Krabs! Are you ready to party?
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it, move it.
Wow! Hello, fellow motor enthusiastics.
Oh, Mr. Krabs!
Isn't there any way for us to return all of them back to normal?
Hey! How did he do that?
The Red Ranger's a bigger problem than I thought.
It's time to finish this thing up!
What can I do to make them love me again?
What are you drawing, Kitty?
Mega Rangers? Yeah! That's a mega win!
Hello? King Julian, you are truly inspiring. Ow!
Sponge pot! Fantastic!
Aro, give me 5 stress, 3 gonorrhea.
Kale muli wano, you think you've brought campasas omwana yenna asobola ogamba super deep si myaka gyaffe.
I'm like, I like my swag too. So what about it? Then she was like, I also like your accent. That village accent. Now.
I
think
you know how he thinks.
We'll talk about that. Do you?
Yeah,
you radiant, right?
I mean, we got radiant. I told you, my gray hair is good like that. There's no need.
Radiant, they have
whatever it is. You gifts and what? On their birthday.
You just go to your
sponsor. Or go to Natasha and say, you brought radiant. I need some products. You know?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
Isma must be back from Mombasa or still enjoying.
She'll be back, I think, today evening.
Yeah.
So he needs some good rest. Yeah. He'll be telling you about jet lag. I don't know. Maybe bus lag. Bus lag is tougher than jet lag, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's start with rugby. Over the weekend, Baby Cranes beat Madagascar. Does the victory mean light at the end of the tunnel?
Most likely, because that's where I think we should start from. First of all, fantastic tournament hosted by Uganda Under-19. And the Baby Cranes managed to win, beating up on Madagascar. And that meant them being promoted to Tier 1A, which, of course, the senior team has dropped drastically from Tier 1A to Tier 1B. I think now they must be in Tier 1C, the senior team. So once rugby got to that level, everyone started thinking, where is rugby headed? And now suggestions, solutions have got to start being thought of. And in sport, every time such issues arise, everyone is thinking, can we start probably building new teams? And the best way to do that is by starting with the underage teams. Now, one of those should be the under-19. And one of the biggest problems in Ugandan rugby was that when their best or better, or we can actually say best players, moved away from the game, retired, some of them, of course, because of work and issues here and there, there were not enough players to come and fill those gaps. And that's a huge problem in sport. Once you don't have that transition system or the generation to be filled up, those that have been good. For example, Alan Musoke, the Edmond Tumusimes, there were no players to bring in to fill those gaps. Now, this is the best way to start, the under-19 teams. A couple of them were very exciting in this tournament, so this could be a very good starting point. But of course, most importantly now, They need technical support, and technical support cannot come from here. We need international technical support. I remember when Chester Williams came here from South Africa, there was a huge improvement. That's when actually we shot high into Tier 1A, we won the Confederation of African Rugby. The thing is, we need technical support from out to help us because we do not move with the current trend and the levels of rugby across all the others. Look at Kenya, we're ahead of us a little now because they brought in international support. There are games that need a lot of technical support. Rugby, cricket, for example. If you don't bring in guys who are way up there, you're going to struggle. But the most important part about this is that you have to first have talent for technical support to support it. At the moment, it seems like we have one or two that was exhibited in the Under-19 tournament.
Right.
Okay. Well, moving on to the Uganda Cranes, they made a stopover in Niger. I wonder why. And is it a full team now?
First of all, there's no Ebola. I haven't had an Ebola in Niger, so it's okay. You can stop there. Much as it's close, I think, if not even in West Africa, you know. First of all, they traveled Sunday, were in Addis on Monday, left Addis yesterday to be in Niger today. They play friendly with Niger today. That's why they're in Niger. At 7 p.m. today, I think, is when the game should be on. And, of course, it prepares them for the big game on Saturday against Ghana. Full team, no, because there have been two huge misses that we're going to have on Saturday. No Geoffrey Massa, no Brian Majwega. Now, for me, because we are going to play in Ghana, a very strong side way ahead of us, this team beat up on Egypt 6-1. Never mind about the problems that Egypt had in their country, politically. They're still a very strong team. When you look at their players, where they play, consistently playing at the topmost level, yeah, exactly. It becomes tough for Uganda. Now, I think we'll be thinking of packing the midfield, ensuring the defense is tight to limit how much damage can be caused by Ghana on us. So the big miss for me is going to be Brian Majwega. Very important to have players who are willing to die for the going backwards. Brian was only going to be allowed to leave, prepare with the rest of the guys who stayed. Prepare. FIFA rules, we're going to be showing the game live on Saturday. I think it should be 7 p.m. Okay. We're covered. So, Mebo,
even the one,
Guinea highly doubt.
You're taking me out on a date.
To watch the game.
Okay.
I'll be glad. I'm sure it could be the last time I can have a chance to take you out.
You know, so make hay. What do they say? Make hay when the sun shines.
Whatever that is, but I'll maximize the opportunity.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll be available. When was the last time we did a Chizungu proverb? We've been doing only African things. So if you tell me Chizungu, I'm bleak.
Yeah. The transfer window ended last night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about, especially the big moves.
I think the biggest of them all, that was actually a shock to so many.
Yes.
I doubt even whether, I'm sure even Louis Van Gaal must have been shocked. Radamel Falcao joining United on loan for a year. It could
was that a shock?
It was. Nobody, because everyone was saying United. Of course, United already had Robin Van Persie and Wayne Rooney. Of course, after knowing that Danny Welbeck and Hernandez could be let go, you thought United needed a third striker. They cannot only work with two, with the problems Robin Van Persie has with his injuries. But then you don't expect, or we're told that Monaco football. For them, I think that was, but they had done their business. No, some go Alvaro Negredo leaving, Mika Richards also. Alvaro Negredo lives on loan to Valencia, and then of course Richards lives on loan also to Fiorentina. A couple of other small teams. Hull was so busy signing 3 players, including Hatem Ben Arfa from Newcastle on loan. They signed Habel, I think Fernandez also. Leicester had a couple of players from United on loan. I signed some, of course, they had completed the deal of Esteban Cabias over the weekend. And Arsenal, that we'll be discussing maybe next, I'm sure you're dying for that. But I think the biggest of them all must have been Radamel Falcao to United. Shocking for me. I was surprised at it, but very good deal for United. People have been saying they don't have a defense.
Are they getting in shape? Slowly. Because I can see them now.
Yeah, because the thing is, once you have good players, teams are going to be scared of you, which is an advantage sometimes. But it's going to be a disadvantage because they'll be trying to stop you.
When they need to gel fast.
I think they will. We're talking about Louis Van Gaal, who's worked probably with bigger stars than these ones that they have. Yeah? So they should be able. I think United fans wanted to see a new team with superstars because they have the money. United.
But Welbeck wasn't bad. Hernandez wasn't bad.
What?
They were not bad.
They're not at the level of United probably. Now this is the rule United probably fans want to see.
This is what United, even when Alex was coaching them, they didn't have the stars.
Yeah, exactly. But you see now,
that
after
match
finishing 7th,
United's, you know.
Exactly. After finishing 7th, United needed to go out and buy.
That.
Yeah, so they needed to go out and buy, and they've done it.
Yeah.
But Ryan Falcao should be a good buy. People are questioning defense, midfielder, defense and stuff. I remember the times when United were dominating the English game, and the 90s and the 2000s. United would concede 2, score 3, concede 2, score 4, 5-3, so, and they ended up winning. I know it cost Liverpool a season because these days you've got to do both in equal measures almost. At times, also defending 3 points away up there.
And actually, I was reading about him. He's one of those guys who joined.
Like, he's looking for anywhere to play.
So you think he's not a good buy?
No, to start
He's
with.
the worst
no,
buy.
to start with.
I despise him.
To start with.
He's not a. He's not. He's supposed to be in something Coca-Cola.
No.
Yeah, not well.
I did a strike about Alexis Sanchez and Theo Walcott. I don't regard them as central strikers. They can easily be cut out for me. After being in the box, you need someone. Now, I don't think of clinical strike for me. Goal scoring maybe makes one. But listen,
think that he
and
10 minutes. Let's just get
they felt I think they needed the skills about 4, 5, 6.
But
he's one of those. He loses here and there, but then again, Songa never goes very far.
Yeah.
And
you should see Songa sometimes when the parents are in the arena to watch him.
But we should be supporting
the
these
mom,
black guys.
The mom I think is French. The dad is Congolese.
You yeah.
When you see, you can clearly see these ones are not together. They've just come to support the son. There's nothing.
Songa is a visa child.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing between them. They just come to support. I'd like to concentrate on 2 people here. Of course, Roger Federer is still in here. He made the finals at Wimbledon. He was beaten by Novak Djokovic. Novak is still also in there. Name that are about to start, and of course, semis and finals. Good tennis at any Grand Slam this season.
Yeah.
Very strong because he had actually with Novak Djokovic. Because Novak also, according to us, it's going to be a tough. She beat up, I think, on Kaya Kanapi, the girl from Estonia. She has not made a quarterfinal this year in any Grand Slam. And we're talking about a 17-time Grand Slam champion, a 32-title major winner, because she's won 32 majors in tennis. That includes, of course, the singles, mixed doubles, and the doubles with a sister. Dominate a lot of doubles. And the person who's won over $50 million in prize money. She didn't make any until the U.S. Open. Now she's chasing history. The first woman to win 3 U.S. Opens on the bounce since Open era tennis, and that is from 1968. So I'm sure she'll be willing to go, and she's played some good tennis. She needed this. She's home. She loves this. She's already won 5 times at the U.S. Open. This will be her 6th. And when you look at the guys who she's going to be coming up against, given the fitness she has now and how she's looking.
You see, they are having a referendum.
What else school like that?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Well,
Brian, I'll tell you something. Welbeck will do a good job for the Arsenal. I know for the club, they've gone for Danny Welbeck, who you look at the other teams, Loic Remy, Diego Costa.
Oh, maybe that's the catch.
Yeah.
He's younger.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
Wenger always likes
he's
the
young.
young people whom
he's
he
a very,
can nurture.
He's a very younger. But the thing is, when you look at all the other teams, as I was saying, City, I've already talked about Chelsea, Diego Costa, and Loic Remy, and DJ Drogba. United now, Falcao, Rooney, and Van Persie. Who are the other teams? Will be Liverpool, okay, Mario Balotelli, Daniel Sturridge, and maybe Raheem Sterling, who should be in and out as a striker. You feel Arsenal should have done better because the teams you're competing with have got better strikers.
Big, yeah. Well, we'll be following those stories very closely. You can catch late at 1:30 p.m. Omumuli, Lumansi, and Alan, and of course, every Monday, Sports Bar coming to you live from Club Soup with Brian, Patrick Nyamozi, and Aisha Nasanga, and the whole crew of sports guys there. And follow those shows. And of course, before we head out, check out your African proverb. To yourself as a sport, there maybe he was Zimugwanancha, but someone said that. But
Well, I
what
think
have you done to improve this?
one of the most important things I've realized, first of all, I take this as a job. As much as I love it, it's good to do something I think you like. That's one. Two, you've got to associate with people who make you better, which you do. Don't be afraid, thinking, okay, this guy could actually take my position at NTV or radio station. You've got to associate with people who make you better. And I think I always work towards that. I was inspired by a couple of people who started doing this in this country. One of those I'm not even shy to talk about is Maxwell, one of the best.
Yeah.
And you've got to associate with such people. They will make you better. But also look at improving each and every time. But also too, when you're on TV, you realize you're not only here and thinking you're the best. You try to be the best. But out there could be people who are better than you.
Yeah.
So don't come here and feel comfortable and think
and
you're
feel
the best.
like you're the baddest.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a couple of people who are out there who are much better than me, who can come here and talk sport. Maybe they haven't yet gotten a chance. So you've got to ensure you work towards making yourself better. It's very important.
Awesome. Mabel?
Actually, so many people tell me that they're surprised I talk about sport. But I think for
yeah,
me,
I'm quite surprised.
it's interest. I'm learning as well. I learn a lot from you guys, especially like Formula One. I still don't know. I think it's always unfair that, you have two teammates who one beats up on the other. Golf, but I guess even spending time to actually watch golf, know what caddy or whatever, those things are.
I mean, caddies, buddies, and egos,
parts,
bogies. Yeah, of course, a buggy.
You watch the game,
like the
but
buggy.
it starts also with an interest. But reading, the other day, and I'm not ashamed to say, I was like, okay, Brian loves Italy. Let me go and read upon Italy. And I read. It was just too much information. I said, I think I will slowly ease into the Serie A.
and for me, when you work on TV, first of all, I'm sure all of you have realized this. When you go out there, people think you know everything.
Yes.
Whether it's politics, whether it's sports. If you do sports, people will ask you anything. So, is it true census strategy? Is it true the president? All that kind of stuff. And for me, I think it's not only people who work on TV or radio or being in the media, but I'm thinking, as a human being, as a person, you should look at least being informed about each and everything, at least having something to read about it. You don't have to know much, but at least have an idea about something, because you never know where you're going to end up. As a student, but I ended up here because I
that you make today, whether you're going to, it's not just about you, it's about so many people. So my take out today for you, become the best at what you do. If you're a sweeper, be the best sweeper. If you're a receptionist, be the best receptionist. If you're a cameraman, I see Nelly has been doing dope shots here. Be the baddest.
I'm not sure about the dope shots because I haven't seen them. I need to first see
we'll first see them. But be the best you can be in your job or in your passion, whatever you do. And you know what? The universe will appreciate you.
Yeah.
The universe will appreciate you and you will get what you deserve. Until tomorrow, have a phenomenal day. Check out our Facebook page, Morning at NTV, Twitter at Morning at NTV. You can also use our SMS platform 6565. Let us know how we can improve this show. We get all the feedback and we're doing everything we can to make it better. Charles down at the studio with Manmeet, thank you so much. And Rose here, and Idubu from Nigeria. Nelly, our cameraman, and David, and of course, Latigo, the chick on the sound. Oh, awesome for a lady to do sound. The whole crew. Thank you guys so much. We never get to appreciate you. No one sees you, but we know you're doing an awesome job. Bye-bye.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
NTV, turning on your world.
Use White Star Laundry Bar Soap with a lemon fragrance and you'll have a fresh, clean day. Be like a star. Use White Star.
Don't disturb Daddy. My daddy is a star.
White Star Laundry Bar Soap. All day fresh clean.
Stand up to be counted. Brought to you by UBOS. It's your right.
Mom, why closing the doors and windows?
As if you don't know. Don't you see those people coming? They have been asking everyone questions in the village. I don't want to give them any information about us. You can't trust people nowadays.
We need to answer them.
Why?
They are collecting information that will help our community in the end. The information collected is used by our leaders to make informed decisions and plan better for all of us.
Census is here. Get ready to be counted. Starting from 28th August to 6th September 2014. Together, we count. This message is brought to you by Uganda Bureau of Statistics.
We transact every day, and for centuries, currencies have changed hands. Business is a must, and that is why Money Matters makes it a must to talk business.
It's the biggest market out in Uganda because of East African connections and business.
From farming to business trading, we give you all the angles.
When you're harvesting, that one is the most important part, which we have to be there.
We'll bring you all the details that doing business has to offer.
Thoughts of the business leaders in the market.
The airline industry doesn't operate like any other industry, where you go in and buy a shirt and this shirt is 20 shillings today, it will be 20 shillings tomorrow, 20 shillings.
The analysis of the costs and the income in the industries.
From wherever we are, we talk business, and at Money Matters,
where money indeed matters.
Business is a must.
So, don't miss talking business with us every Thursday only on NTV.
you can bring everybody in parliament as long as they can wake up and vote for the NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am MUI?
It's absolutely true. I admired President Museveni.
Is the ICC a fiscal code targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only 2 individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
Hey, hello, Muna. Okobati. Go, yesterday's Rolex was for World Cup. But I was here wondering, what do you think came first? The egg or the chicken? Because me, I think the chicken came first and... Hello,
Make a call for whatever reason. Call someone, call anyone, and change your life. Make a call and you could win 100 million shillings, a car, or a smartphone with free data for a year. Plus, win 2 free minutes every day.
Airtel. Together we can.